had a lot of things happen to me that I thought would be of interest to you. And I haven't really spoken about it before, but I will try and organize it as I go along, and so indulge in it. I've been a party to some electronic events that were startling, okay? Startling in their scope and startling in their inefficiency. Well, for example, I was in Boston up until this morning. I caught a plane at 7 o'clock this morning Eastern time to make it here to talk to you. And so the means of communication that I haven't fully realized how dependent we are on is the phone. I mean, we carry our phone now like it's a walking stick. I mean, it supplies us with everything. It supplies us with communication, with entertainment, with practical things like an alarm that wakes you up. So I'm watching television, another electronic event, taking me to the news last night in my hotel room, prepared to go to bed. I've got my phone by my hand. And I think, okay, it's time to go to bed, and I gotta charge my phone because I've left the 3 o'clock wake-up call on my phone. Because I have in the past, before the phone, asked the front desk to wake me up to catch an airplane, and they say an hour later, oh, sorry, we missed that. Yes, you missed it, and you missed my airplane. So I used the phone, the dependable iPhone, in my case, to wake me up. I go to plug my phone in to charge it, and it won't charge. So I think, okay, I know about that. You turn it off and let it reset. It wouldn't let me turn it off. I couldn't turn it off, I couldn't turn it on. I couldn't do anything with it. I couldn't move it. I had my ticket for the airplane in the phone. I couldn't remember exactly what airline I was on. I mean, I just go from day to day, so I didn't know where I was going this morning. So I thought, I'll call the young lady who helps keep me straight, but I can't get on the phone. I am screwed. This phone failed me and should have come to life again. I still can't trust it. It's like your beloved has an affair. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I had an affair. I won't do it ever again. I don't trust my phone. So what I did was I thought, if I put the flashlight on, the battery will go dead, and maybe the phone will go dead, and I can reset. And that's exactly what happened. But what happened was I put the light down close to the bed so I could watch it, and so every half hour I pop up and see if it was dead, and the damn flashlight never died until about 15 minutes before my phone was supposed to. It was a disaster, okay? But I was able to plug it in. It died, and I was able to plug it in. So that particular piece of electronic equipment didn't work until I made it work. This past week, I had joined forces with a company called Hologram, and their business is to project holograms beaming in. Can I say that? Okay. They are beaming you in. Now, the main difference is it isn't flesh and blood. They're capable of beaming your image in anywhere, except their equipment is something that looks like a phone booth. a large thing, phone booth, and they have their magic in the phone booth. And 4,000 people that week in Australia had asked me to come to Australia and talk. I'm not gonna fly to Australia, 17 hours on an airplane, and you don't know whether the airplane's gonna make it. You're over water for 16 hours. Do you ever look down when you're flying over the ocean and look down and think, oh my God, what if what if you have to make an emergency landing? How do you make an emergency landing on the ocean? You know what? You don't. You drown horribly because the plane's going down slowly. How about those planes that went down? Can you imagine being in a plane that's going down into the ocean and you're not thinking, oh, I bet he pulls it up at the left. You boom, you're in there. And not only that, you probably survived the smack and the water is coming up. And you're gonna drown in an airplane. I didn't want to go there. Because I had been there. Several weeks earlier, I went to Australia to do a show I can't mention. It's supposed to look like Mars, but I'm not mentioning anything. And I was going to a town called Cooper Pedy, which it turns out is the center of the opal mining industry in Australia. Now, Cooper Pedy is emblazoned in my mind because many years ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I was asked to do something in Australia, make some announcement or something. I forgot. I had to go to Australia to do some entertainment. And they said, instead of paying you, you can do a couple of things that you've never dreamt of doing in Australia. I thought, that's interesting. Because way back then, I was pretty good with a bow and arrow. And I used to go hunting for food. Pig, deer. Why am I looking at you? Where did you go hunting? The islands, Catalina Islands, for most, or Northern California. Why did you ask that?
Well, this place in Australia that you're talking about is so hot.
No! I went to Tasmania, where the wallabies are a pest in Australia, like rabbits, I guess. You know, they eat all the crops. So they're trying to always do something, control the wallaby population. So they said, if you want to go hunting wallabies, we'll take you to Tasmania. So they took me to Tasmania. And so obviously a bow hunter needs to see what the object is, where your arrow is supposed to go, right? I mean, you can't do it in the dark, like with a gun sight or something. You need to see how far the object is and see where you aim your arrow. And they come out in the dusk. The woods are there, and they come out in the dusk. So I'm lying on the ground with the guide, and we're lying there, and the sun's going down, and I'm wondering, when are the wallaby coming? And now the sun's almost set, and I hear what's that? And he says, it's the wallaby. There are certain animals that are wannabe wallabies. Did you know that? And here they come. We're going to help Australia get rid of pests. And the sun sets and it gets dark and I can't see the wallaby. So I didn't go hunting. It was a failure on their part. Then I said, okay, the other thing I want to do, which I have done now, back then a lot, was fly an airplane. I had soloed in Cessnas, and there's one of the things of learning to fly, it's called cross country. You fly a triangular 100-mile route, and that's your cross country flight, and you get your license. But I thought cross country means cross country. Fly from Santa Monica to Miami in a very light 140 Cessna across Texas with all those winds, across Alabama with all those winds. Another kind of wind. I was trying to be funny. I'm not getting a laugh. That's very embarrassing. So I flew this light airplane from Santa Monica to Miami, cross country. I was a pretty good pilot. I was really a good pilot. I was working for my flight, my instrument rating. And so when I got to Australia, I said, I'd like to fly somewhere in Australia. So the guy who had hired me said, hey, we've got a gentleman here who has a North American twin-engine Rockwell plane. And he flew it from Los Angeles to New York, from New York to London, from London down to the bottom of Europe to the foot of Italy, across Italy, down Africa, through Africa, down to India, down to the Philippines, down to across the islands, and then finally Australia. I met him. He said, yes. Well, I'd like to do an Australian accent, but I can't. Yeah, Bill. No, that's Southern. Maybe he was from the south of Australia. That's right, he was from the south of Australia. I amused myself, unfortunately not you. So wait a minute. So this guy says, yes, I flew that airplane all that way, and I knew every moment where I was. Let's go up. So I get in this airplane, and I'm in the right-hand seat, he's in the left-hand seat, and we fly up, and it's really beautiful, a great airplane. Way in the distance, I see thunderclouds. I said, let's go over there to the thunderclouds. Not only did I fly an engine airplane, a mechanical airplane, but I flew gliders as well. And I know about updrafts and downdrafts, especially in thunderclouds. They can sometimes be severe. I said, let's fly into there with this big airplane. Okay, so we fly into the thundercloud, and up and down and up and down, and finally we emerge, and this guy says, Bill, I flew from Los Angeles to New York to London to the Philippines to finally to Sydney, and every moment I knew exactly where I was. I have no idea where we are right now. So we found a place to land, and as he signaled he was landing, I could see people at the airstrip going like this, like waving at us. They weren't waving at us. What they were doing was brushing flies from their eyes. It's so dry in the outback that the flies, I mean like house flies, maggots, are looking for anything that has moisture. And if your eyes or your nose or your mouth, if you go to say hello, you go ha-oh, and they're waving this thing, waving. The flies are, I spent 2 weeks outside in the desert, and the torture was So we land at this place, and I discover it's called Cooper Pedy. And it's the opal, we went into the opal mines where the people live because it's so hot there.
They live in the ground.
They live underground. Underground.
Yes.
Way underground.
It's crazy.
It's